Good morning, Facebook listeners and my actionable financial literacy listeners. This is Dr. Joe Blake here with the Actionable Financial Literacy Center. I hope everyone is having a fine, sunny afternoon in Goodyear, Arizona, and welcome to today's broadcast. Hey, I wanted to let you know that we're having a wonderful day here, and I got some great information to share with you. I want to remind you of our seminar that's coming up September 16th. Um, it's going to be September 16th at I had to adjust the location. It's going to be at the State Bridge Suites instead of Holiday Inn, but it's only like 30 feet to the left there, 30 feet to the left. Um, uh, same location is 930, 9340 West Cabela Drive. It's still in the suites there located by the Glendale Sports Arena type thing. It's the same area, but it's like 30 feet to the left. Same area, pretty much. And that we're gonna learn more about actionable financial literacy. Learn about some cash flow principles as well. Great event. You're gonna have fun. You're gonna learn some things. I'm always, even though a lot of the information it's technical, but I break it down real easy, make it understandable. You're gonna get some good information out of it. So register. Make sure you register to enter the event. You just have to get a copy of the book. You can go to my website. If you get too busy and don't get it at the website, you can come to at the event. You can purchase a copy of the book. At the event, you get a signed copy of my book as well. So it'll be a great event. So make sure to get there, get a copy of the book itself. All right. Now for today's broadcast, we have a wonderful guest, um, a veteran like myself. I like, being a vet. It just helps to have another vet be there with us. And today's guest is Scott Boettcher. He is a Marine, former Marine, and he has a veteran blind business. And let me just bring Scott on. He can tell you more about himself better than I can. Okay, Scott, you there?
Hey, Dr. Joe. Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
All right, excellent, excellent. Scott, why don't you just tell our listeners just a little bit about yourself?
Probably do the short version, being I'm 51 and I could take up the whole time. So, um, I'm originally from Minnesota. Came down to Arizona in 2010. Got married, and geez, it was 1997. Um, to a wonderful person. Her name is Marcy. She's a CT director out at Saddle Mountain School District out in Tonopah. We reside in Buckeye. I have two really great daughters. Um, my oldest is in the National Guard. She commissioned uh, through NAU's ROTC program, and she's currently out in Virginia going through some training uh, as an officer. And she got her degree also in criminal justice, so she's got that as well. And she's a great person. Couldn't ask for a better first kid. My second, she's she's gonna be 18, and she's 3 days. What are we? The 24th, 4 days.
Okay.
Um, Man, another great kid. She's gonna be at U of A next year. She just graduated high school. She's going for a nursing degree. She really loves kids and wants to help them. So I couldn't have a better family. We escaped Minnesota in 2010. It was cold, man, cloudy. I thought Washington was the cloudiest state. And I looked it up before we moved down here, and 90 days of sunshine a year in
Wow.
Washington. Minnesota, 93. So it was time to get out of there. My wife always wanted to live where it was sunny and where there's palm trees. And man, now we have it. And you can't hide from that sun. And that's where we belong, man, because window film lets you keep the sun coming in and reduces the
Right,
damage.
right.
so so that's
Yeah.
kind of the scoop. It's been good. I spent 4 years in the Marine Corps right out of high school. Spent a little over 2 years overseas with that. Did my job. It was a
Right.
great experience. And couldn't ask for a better start to figuring things out. So
Yeah. Military does that to you, kind of straightens you out, sets you on your path to do great things.
yes, sir.
Yeah, wonderful family, man. Wonderful family.
Thank you.
Uh, all right. With the window blinds, you have a saying that solution for windows. So could you define that for us? Define solution for windows for us.
So in Minnesota, I worked with a company called Sun Control Minnesota, and I did trade shows for them. And we always had our booth set up, and it had the big sign, Sun Control Minnesota. Nobody knew what we did. We tinted windows. We hung a few shades, but until they were a little bit curious or I get their attention, they had no idea what we did. And in Minnesota, with a little bit of sunshine, it's like selling ice in Alaska. It's not quite as needed as it is down here. However, there is a lot of uses up there for it, and I was actually with the largest dealer in 12 states in Canada. We did a lot of glass. So when I came down here and started my business, I had to have something in my name to kind of hopefully tell people what I did. So with that, I'm a veteran in the industry. I started doing this in 1988. Worked at a car wash. Kind of learned the industry on my own, watching people. So I've been doing it for a little over 30 years.
Wow.
And so I thought, I need to have that as part of it besides being a veteran. And there's only a very small percentage of people that serve this country. And,
Right.
I think veterans need to have be highlighted whenever they can be. So I put it right in the name, and it's got kind of a combo meaning to it. So the tinting blinds, of course, I tint windows, and blinds kind of covers both bases of what I do. And solutions for windows just make sense because people need a solution for their windows. When you get into your house, new house, you got nothing. I was in a house the other day. They had me out 3 years ago to give them an estimate on blinds. You know what they have on their windows now, 3 years later?
What's that?
They have frost from Home Depot that they put up, a cling application. They cannot see out their glass. They have full privacy, still lets in some light. So you need blinds. I don't recommend necessarily frosting all your glass, but you got to do what you got to do. Man, budgets can be tight, and they got kids, and I understand. I want to help them, but I don't have the cheapest products either. So it can sometimes make it challenging, but we try to do everything to help everybody. And in Arizona, I found that the average person can see a nice payback from window film. Minnesota, not so much. So here you can get a couple year payback, and if you're doing your house for $1,000 to $2,000 on average, and you see that return in a couple of years, and the product is designed to last 20 plus years, so you can see what kind of return on that you can get. So that's it.
Yeah, that's good. Now, to be doing this for 30 years, that says a testament to your work and to your dedication in your field. Because sometimes it lets them know that you're not a fly by night type of guy. It's someone that's committed to what you're doing, and your love for that field. Because 30 years, that's a lifetime. For some folks, it's a lifetime. So my next question for you is, how do you influence and educate your community about what you do?
Well, when I came down from Minnesota, I thought it'd be a piece of cake being in the window film business. I came down actually with a film manufacturer out of Vegas. So I was calling on dealers like myself.
Mm-hmm.
And, that I met over 300 dealers down here and was just starting to make some sales. And the manufacturer that I was with, they decided to go in a different direction. And I ended up looking for another job for about 20 minutes. My wife and kids were still back in Minnesota, and I was not planning on going back. So I came down here with the job. The job fell through 7 weeks into my trip down. Just rented a house and bought a car, and the company gave me $1,500 to move on my way. So I fought tooth and nail. I got $5,000 out of them. Looked for a job for 20 minutes, and I could tint a car, or 2 cars in a week, and make what I could make working for somebody for 40 hours. So I decided to, delve in. And when I started my business, I first got involved with networking, and I remember a gentleman. His name was Arky. Man, big guy. One of my first meetings, and he says, "Well, people here have sunscreens. What do you need this window film for? Why would I want something on my glass that's there all the time and I can't take it off in the winter months?" So I learned right away that, folks need to understand what I'm doing, because coming down from Minnesota, I thought for sure people would understand and know about window film already. But
Right.
a lot of folks still think that it's for your cars, and then they see it on your car and it's purple or all kinds of bubbles in it. And why would you want something like that on your house? So I don't mind people, having an issue with understanding, what window film is or can be, and I try to help them understand that there's products available that are meant for homes, and
Mhm.
there's 10 plus window film manufacturers out there, and most dealers out here just sell window film. They might carry 2 or 3 brands of window film based on your budget, and sell you kind of what they feel might fit best for you.
Right.
I've always offered the same product since '88. I've worked with the Lumar brand. It's designed to last, like I say, 20 plus years. So I helped to educate Arky on why you would want to use a window film versus a sunscreen. And ultimately it's there. You're absolutely right. But there's products that can be invisible. I could do your house and you wouldn't even know I did it. In fact, we had a customer from Anderson. Her husband worked at Anderson Windows. She had a high-end home, and she had
Right.
us in. She had us in to do her house, and her husband didn't want window film because he felt that Anderson Windows was a functional window, and she was experiencing fading. Glass doesn't stop the UV, so window film can. So she had us out without her husband even knowing we were in there, put up a film, protected all of her stuff, and her husband had no idea. So there's products that are virtually invisible and they can be really dark. So
Right. Now, as a matter of fact, at the networking meeting we were at iNetpreneur, you brought some samples in of the different tinting that you have available, and some were reflective, some were see through, some even lessen the light that came into your house. And those different samples that you had were very, very unique. Is there? There are different costs. You mentioned different ones as well.
yeah,
But it varied. It depends on what your client wanted.
yeah,
And so I like those. Do you have any samples that you can just kind of like hold up at all or anything like that?
sure. And there's products, like I say, there's films that can be almost invisible on the glass. Something like this. This stops all the UV. It blocks a little over 50% of the heat, and it can be used on historical applications where they can't change the look of the building. So a lot of people are concerned with HOAs. So there's products available that can be put up and still give you a pretty good performance. And then they go something quite shaded and reflective. Something like this, you can start to see some of the reflectance that you get off of that film. And then on the inside, you're going to get a non-reflective appearance. that's more of a dark appearance, and that's designed so that you can still see out in the evening. And then they go everywhere in between, so they're very light or very dark, and some that are kind of medium. So I usually leave some samples so people can use them in a good way to be able to pick a product that works best for them.
Okay. Is there a pervasive concern that you see that you mentioned about um, how some folks don't understand tinting
Yeah.
and is needed? Is that something like a concern that you see very often out there in the communities?
Sometimes it depends. Usually people aren't aware. So what it comes down to is educating folks on how the product works, what it's tested on, which films are safe for what type of glass, because that's where the concern sometimes comes in. There's films out there that are designed to be safe on single pane glass, and those films might not be safe on dual pane glass. So dual pane glass, you have a space in between the glass, and if you put a film on the inside and it absorbs, or if it's a dark non-reflective product, it will absorb more heat than is reflected from it. So that will cause for expansion and can sometimes cause issues with the glass. Now, there is glass out there that's designed to withstand that stress. So on commercial applications, doors, anything around a door, 18 inches and below to the floor, that's going to be a tempered safety glass. Tempered safety glass is designed, it's 6 times stronger than annealed glass. It's designed to hold up to 480 degrees of
Ooh,
stress. So it's not affected by a stress fracture of
okay.
which window film would cause. Typically a window film, and we'd see it more in Minnesota because when it's 0 or 20 below outside and the sun comes up and you got window film on your glass and the top of the window starts to heat up, the
Okay.
bottom part's still freezing cold, man. So that glass sometimes doesn't like it, and it'll do. The cool thing is they've figured out a way to show a footprint. So if the film causes it, there's a footprint that says, okay, film was a factor in this. There's glass that just breaks
Okay.
with or without film. So we can usually tell if it was the film that we put on or if we just picked out a weak pane, because there's windows that are gonna break. It's just that window film might add just enough stress to cause it to break sooner than it would have on its own.
Interesting. Okay. How do veterans work with a passion and a few cents to become successful as you?
Uh, I think it's a mentality. I don't know that it fits every veteran. We're all different, just like anything else. And when you're enlisted, you don't become a leader until you're not a leader for a while. So you start out as a private, become a lance corporal. I'm sorry, you become a PFC. I skipped PFC. Go. Actually, I did skip PFC. I went right to lance corporal, and you're not an NCO, which is a non-commissioned officer, until you're at E4. So until you become a corporal, they might give you a few kind of leadership positions, but typically they don't start allowing you to lead until you're a corporal. So there's a lot of folks that may never be in a leadership position, and I don't know. Everybody's different, so I don't know that I lead the same as everybody else does. In fact, it's only been a few months that I've actually had technicians that I've been leading. So it's been an interesting transition. I think veterans can have a mentality to get through whatever you have to get through. It's often depending on how you were trained. I think there's different jobs, different branches. I think we're all trained a little differently to a certain degree. But I was trained to overcome and really adapt to whatever situation that I'm put in. And
Yeah. Yeah.
sometimes it's hard, man. Sometimes it's like I don't want to, and you have to go through those ups and downs. And it's been an interesting period, and I think I have a at least training, and I've been beat up enough to mentally to be able to overcome a lot of that stuff. And it helped going through the training and put in positions that I've been in to be able to do that.
Yeah. That's why I say veterans, we have that about us that we face challenges, we adapt to them and overcome them and press forward. Being I was a firefighter when I was in, and I can tell you I was in for 13 years, and there's been several, quite a few fires. Some things I even forgot that I've gone through, and you pull up on the scene, you see flames coming out of a building, you're like, oh my gosh, here we go, and
Mm-hmm.
and when you know you've been trained, you say, okay, I get to use those skills and everything that I've been trained to do and use, and
Right.
you're not worrying about the flames. Be 1,000 degrees of heat, and you can feel the heat when you're coming up on a building and everything. So it's like
Yeah.
you feel it.
Right.
you know there's heat, but then when you feel the heat and you got all your stuff on, you still feel it. It's like, man, it's hot, but you're still going in there. So yeah. Okay. What do you have any other platforms or social media sites that you use for your company?
I do. I'm on Facebook. I have a Facebook page. I have a really good web guy back in Minnesota, another Marine Corps veteran. Grew up with him, and yeah, I went to high school with him. And fortunately, he knows WordPress, and he can do WordPress, and he figured out all these platforms. And he set me up with a nice Facebook page. I got a Twitter page. I have I'm on Instagram. There's LinkedIn. My wife did Pinterest for a while. Yeah, we got a blog on our website. It hasn't been attended to for a while, but that's there. Yeah, we try to be a part of anything that will help bring um, organic. I'm trying to think of the word. I guess visibility to our website, and so we try to include a link to our website with our Facebook posts, Instagram posts, and it just helps to keep that web moving.
Okay. So what do we do next if someone wants to get a hold of you, get your business? Now I have at the bottom of the screen scrolling. I have your website and the telephone number from your website. Is that the good way for someone to get a hold of you and see what your company can do for their commercial or residential, or
Yes,
is that
sir.
good?
That is correct information right there. And that's the best way to reach me. There
Okay.
are so many means of communication that sometimes I fall off the deep end if I don't get to one platform or another. So it's really, if you want kind of to get my attention, the first place to go would probably be to text me. I get text messages to that number. You can call me directly if I'm not able to answer. I will get back to you. And my website has a contact page right on it, so you can scroll down that first page. You can put your information in. That'll come right to my email, and I'll respond to you from there.
Okay. All right. Final question, and this is for the benefit of the platform here. How does financial literacy fit with window tinting, window veteran tinting and blinds?
Oh man, money makes the world go round. I hope you learn kind of a little bit about it and how it works. I told myself I would never hire anybody until I saved up some money. Learning after 13 years that you, you don't always stay busy, and you try to stay busy and you do everything you can, but you don't always stay busy. So you got to have some money. And if you don't spend properly, it can go away real fast. So financial literacy is the key to really maintaining um, somewhat of sanity. If you don't have if you don't maintain it or understand how it works, it can really put you into a downhill tunnel, which you see in a lot of cases nowadays. People need to learn about money and how it works, and you have to have some kind of discipline. And a lot of it starts when they're young. You know,
Yeah.
I was fortunate. My wife was a teacher, and she was marketing and business, and like you, she taught her kids, and she did a real good job with ours. So ours are going to be successful and provide more taxes so that this society can carry on.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Scott, for being here with us, sharing your insights. Thank you for your service as well.
Thank you, Joe. I
Well,
appreciate your service, man.
thank you. You're welcome. All right, everyone. I'm glad you all were here to gain some information, and I want to welcome you for be here next week where we'll again bring more information about financial literacy.
Thanks, Dr. Joe.
You're welcome.